Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now because this is not the show for you. Now, what I'm going to do today is speak on this topic. With the rise in STDs and all this other sexually transmitted diseases that we see going on in our communities, and with rappers like Sexy Red and other influencers from social media encouraging sexual promiscuity, and what can I say? They don't care about catching STDs. It's almost as if they're pushing it, they're promoting it, and they're living this life recklessly. So it makes me ask myself, do black women enjoy STDs now? Because they are not trying to avoid them at all. Now, these clips that I'm going to play is going to be out of fair use. This is an educational video educating you my point of view about this situation. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, as I pull it up on the screen for you. And this one's going to be crazy. This is going to be 3 white women, before I get to the people in my community, who are bragging about STDs in the throat. You heard me.
Since you've had it in your throat, and what is the difference in feeling?
It feels like strep throat, but the white spots are all over your mouth. Like, they don't really hurt. It just...
This woman says the STD that she had in her throat felt like strep throat, and she had white spots in her throat.
What is the difference in feeling?
It feels like strep throat, but the white spots are all over your mouth. Like, they don't really hurt. It just feels weird.
Infected.
Yeah.
Look like a creep.
But and then in your it itches really bad. Like, if you have a yeast infection times a million.
Oh.
Like, you literally want to sit on a brush like all day.
just
Your vagina, your butt crack is so itchy from an STD that you need to sit on a bristled brush all day so you can scratch the itch. And then before that, she's talking about having whatever she had. The other girl said if it feels like you got something creamy in your mouth, the white spots that she had in her mouth from some type of STD that made it feel like she had strep throat. Now, let me show you some black women who said if they have a side dude, that they would go raw anyway, potentially raising the possibility of them catching an STD. And they're bragging, they're happy about it. Let's go for it.
You go raw, or do you use the condom with your side guy?
raw. We might go raw a little bit.
Raw?
Raw dog!
Raw dog Jamal.
Raw dog!
So you just heard this man question these black women. What would you do with your side dude? Now keep in mind, the main dude is most likely hitting the woman raw himself because that's his main woman. And you got women talking about that I'm going to go raw with no protection whatsoever. Might get pregnant from another man. And this how sometimes that happen, where a good man is raising another man's child without his knowledge. Or she may catch a incurable STD and pass it along to the main man. But they don't care. YOLO, right? Now, let's listen to this one woman who says she has HIV, but it's undetectable, she say. So this is the reason why she doesn't use protection at all. She doesn't care because it's undetectable. Like that matters. Let's get to it.
My HIV is non-detectable. You cannot catch it because it's non-detectable, dummy. And I had sex with half the city without a condom.
This woman is bragging about having sex with half the city. Now, she's telling you she has HIV. So what if she miss a dosage? Everybody's body doesn't react the same to every type of medicine. What if something happens? And she done slept with half the city and going to keep sleeping with people without any form of protection. A black lady.
Undetectable, dummy. And I had sex with half the city without a condom because I'm non-detectable. Hello?
That makes her happy to be able to tell the world on social media that she has HIV, which could lead to terminal AIDS. And she's happy about telling you that she's still sleeping with people, half the people, as she say, in the city. Now, let me tell you this. You may not believe this, but I'm about to prove it. You know what group of women are most susceptible to STDs? Women who are middle-aged, 35, 30 plus years old. They tend to catch STDs easier than they did when they was in their 20s or younger. So let me prove that. Because I know somebody saying that ain't true. Let's prove it.
Why are older women in particular more susceptible to getting STDs, STIs? It is because as we get older in age and become menopausal, vaginal dryness increases. The risk of vaginal dryness increases. Our vaginal tissues get thin. By the way, this is because of a decrease in estrogen due to menopause. Our vaginal tissues start to thin. Our vagina gets drier. We have decreased lubrication. All of these factors and more increase the risk.
In other words, the older you get, ladies, your pussy break. It's not functioning like it used to. So you can catch a whole lot of other stuff that you probably never caught before. Now, because you're getting older, going through your menopause stage. So you still running around these streets, especially women who are 30 plus year old, still going to the clubs, still sucking on Pookie Ray Ray, letting thugs beat it up and all stuff like that. Would you like thugs? Even men who are not thugs. But you letting men busting you, ejaculating your temple, raw dog, and here it is, you are at greater risk of catching STDs, or you are at greater risk spreading those STDs to men because you are sleeping with the same small percentage of men. So most of the time, women have more STDs than the men do. And they'll ask you things like, so where did STD come from? You're sleeping with a small pool of men who are carrying it around. Majority of men don't have that. Most of the women do. I'll prove that a little bit.
The risk of vaginal tears. If you have vaginal tears, that then can increase your risk of getting STDs. So keep that in mind, ladies. That is even sort of an additional risk factor that we have. Vaginal dryness, vaginal thinning, etc., increases the risk of tears, which can increase your risk of getting STDs. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if this is helpful.
Yeah, it was helpful. I hope it helped the women out there to hear that while you're out there slanging your cooter box everywhere. Now I'm gonna put something else up here. I said I'm gonna back up what I said, right? About women sleeping with a small pool of men. Let's do it. You know, I always bring facts here.
I'm telling you right now, we have an explosion in our community. And I'm not saying this to blame Black women. I love my sisters, and I'm saying this out of concern. We got an explosion of STDs and HIV in our community. It's with our women. They're the fastest growing demographic for STDs and HIV, and it's a small percentage of the Black men. It's not happening to the men. It's just happening to the women. Did you know that?
So that kind of contradicts itself, because where do the women get the STDs from?
Because they're I'll tell you, they're having sex with a small percentage of the men. So you gotta.
Did you hear that? This means a lot of you women are sleeping with the same trashy men that you complain about. For example, Keisha sleeps with Pookie. Pookie and Keisha doesn't work out. So now Moquita sees Pookie and think Pookie is sexy. Now Pookie sleeps with Moquita. That don't work out. Now Tina sees Pookie. She likes Pookie. They get in a relationship. He bang her up. That don't work out. Now you got Mika, who sees Pookie. Pookie sees Mika. Pookie sleeps with Mika. And that don't work out. Y'all are sleeping with the same type of men in that small pool of men, in that small percentage of men, because the majority of Black men do not have these type of STDs. But the Black women have more STD cases than the Black men. That is why, because of what you're choosing. Because you want a man who ain't gonna make you feel bored. I don't want a man that's predictable. I don't want a man that's full of routine. I want a man that's gonna excite me. I want a man that I can be in a car chase with when the police behind me because I'm a dumb motherfucker. That's why you're catching STD.
Dicks itself, because where do the women get the STDs from?
Because they're I'll tell you, they're having sex with a small percentage of the men. So you got a massive amount of women who are having sex with a small percentage of the men. That's why there's twice as many women in our community who have children outside of wedlock than there are men. The majority of Black men have nothing to do with this problem.
That's what I wanted to say. I'm glad he said that. Women have more kids than the men do because you're sleeping around so much, being whorish. Might need to say it like Tony Tyler, like great. Or so I say, whorish. I don't know. I got to figure out something for that. Nice little catchphrase or something. Got one more thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a famous, well, she ain't that famous, but she a famous rapper to an extent. Her name is Queen Op. She comes online, right, to tell everybody she got an STD and she's worried about having a baby. She can't have the baby through a vaginal birth. It had to come out and be cut out through a C-section because what she has can be possibly passed down to the baby. Ain't that something? Let's get to it. Her name is Queen Op. Look her up.
Queen Op recently went live and admits she has an incurable STD.
I can't have a birth because I have a blank. And when you have...
She won't identify what it is, but I'm thinking it's herpes. It could be syphilis, but I think it's herpes. And other little STDs that can be passed on to a child. It can even be AIDS, but I'm thinking it's herpes.
A blank, it can be given to the baby during birth. So even something like that, like it's my first girl, I wanted to experience having her vaginally just to experience that moment. But it's just like, I have something that I don't want to pass to her because I feel like, you know, kids or babies shouldn't have to suffer from their parents' mistakes or whatever they was out here doing. You know what I'm saying? But even, I said that to say this, even stuff like that, like little moments like that I wanted to share with the baby, I can't share because of, well, not a blank, I have blank. And it can be passed to the baby during vaginal birth. That's why I have to have a C-section.
Now, you heard what she said now. So I ask again, are these women enjoying STD life? Got one more thing to play about a 18-year-old girl who lost her virginity to a man who had herpes or whatever and HIV. She got the double whammy. She got a hell of a thing going on here. Now, this lady who described the story, she gonna use the word V-cord. V-cord. And I guess she was on TikTok. You can't say virginity. So when she said V-cord, she's making reference to virginity. Let's play it.
In today's neighborhood news, a young lady lost her V-card at the young age of 18 years old, and she ended up catching herpes and HIV from the young man. Now here she goes into detail and say on September 9th, she ended up losing her V-card. She ended up also catching a UTI from that young man, which prompted her to go to the hospital.
Well, she got it all. Herpes, a urinary tract infection, and we finna get to the HIV. Just moving on up, just doing the big, just doing one step at a time, baby steps to the big dog, AIDS.
Now the young man did tell her that he did cheat. She just don't know how long he was cheating. She stated that while she was in the hospital, she also found out that she had HIV as well. Now the young man was telling her that she probably got it from somebody else, or she probably was doing something else that he didn't know about. And she was telling him, saying right here, I only was messing with you. So whatever I got it from you. Now right here, the young...
She was dealing with a nasty so-and-so because he had to have herpes, he had to have HIV, and he had some kind of bacterial thing or whatever it was to be giving her a urinary tract infection. That was a nasty dude. That was a dirty dude, y'all. But you women choose those type of dudes. You don't want to choose a good guy. You want to choose the thug, don't you? Well, love that thug life, baby.
The young man is telling her how sorry he is and how the fact that he know he messed up. You can pause and read this. Now, at one point, she had another page, which I think that young man had her page mass reported, so it was taken down. So this is her new page that I found. And when I went to her new page, apparently the young man put up some test results that said he was negative. However, people are speculating that those test results are fake. So right here, she's telling him, hey, go get the paper. And he's telling her, I have no reason to. And you can pause and read the rest of it. And the reason why she's asking is because he's telling people that he got something from her and that she didn't get anything from him. And she's asking him for the paperwork and show that he had got treated for an STD at that point in time. He's telling them he doesn't have the paperwork right now. He's saying he's gonna, show them, but he says my life is already ruined. Now, the young lady did say on her new page that she has called the police, but they can't just go arrest him because it's a he say, she say thing. Remember I said that the guy is saying that he got it from her, and she's saying, no, I got it from you. And so she has to get money for a lawyer and things like that. This is a very sad case, and I hope this young lady receives justice. She's only 19 years old, and I know this has impacted her life so much. So I'm wishing her the best and hope she's able to, put the pieces of her life back together. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is it's a jacked up situation. Now, what kind of justice can you get from someone giving you herpes, HIV, and a UTI? Now, check it out. It may be different if he did not know, then it wasn't intentional, or he wasn't deliberately trying to hide it. That's a different situation. That you can't really hold him accountable then. But if this man knew that, then yeah. So do black women enjoy STDs? Because the culture is really promoting, to me, the love affair of HIV, the love affair of STDs, a love affair of herpes, because their behavior is unacceptable and hypersexual, that they don't care about the risk of catching anything or even getting pregnant no more. That would look like to me. You let me know what you think about it. Oh yeah, before I let you go, people, these cigars, when they get small, they call them roaches or whatever. Someone said something in my comment. It was cool. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful. He didn't know. Thank you for the comment. He asked about the tweezers. Sometimes you'll see me put it on my cigar like this, and you might see me take a puff out of it because that heat get to your fingernail, Jack. It burn like a mug on your fingers, but that's an old school thing. Back in the day, I think another gentleman had mentioned about it being old school. I seen it from the old school players back in the day. They used to always keep tweezers and stuff like that for stuff like this. You know what I mean? They'll hold it like that so it won't burn their fingers, so they can get the most pleasure and enjoyment out the cigar instead of just throwing this away. Cause man, some of my cigars cost about for a box of 5. Sometimes it costs about $100 or so, or $90-something. And sometimes that means a cigar about $20, $25 each. So I try to smoke all of them. But these acid leaves don't cost that much sometimes. It do cost more than what you normally pay, of course, for a cigarette or a cigar like normal one. You know what I mean? I say about 2. It depends on one you get. The ones I normally get, sometimes for 2, you might be, well, say for 3, you might spend about anywhere from $30 to $40 for 3 cigars. You know what I mean? So it just is what it is. This particular one is a Drew Estate. Anyway, I'll be seeing y'all soon. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day.